path, type on path options, and center this on the path. Preview to make sure it's right. Okay, so now I've got my type centered on the path. So now let me show you a second way you can do this. So this time I'm going to keep one circle, but I'm going to cut it in half. Command C to get some scissors. Oops, it's just in isolation mode. No big deal. When you double click, you put it in isolation mode. Okay, how come my scissors aren't popping up? Okay, so now I'll just click there, and so now I have two halves of the circle. All right, so now I'm going to go. I'm going to type on the path tool, select that, and this time I will make this 36 points. Now let's make it 48, and change the color to white. Okay, and now we'll start typing. And habits to Murgatroyd. We still have some overflow here. So let me show you how to do that. Now I'm choosing the selection tool, and this is at both ends. We don't see the other one now because there's overflow. So you don't want to select the square. You want to select the line part of the bracket, and then I can pull this down to where I want, and now I can see everything, and it's perfectly centered because we had paragraph selected last time. Okay, let me make this uppercase. There. Okay, so now let's do the bottom. So select that. And once again, the type goes off the edge. So again, same solution. I will pull this bracket. Okay, didn't want to cooperate. So let me just change the color while I'm here. Okay. Okay. So now I'm going to pull. Oh, again, it's very tricky. I warned you. So whichever method you prefer better, that's the one you should use. Okay, so selection tool, grab this, and pull. So it's really a matter which one is less frustrating to you. Oh, you can see I changed that type, and it went back. That's another little glitch that I noticed. Okay, but this is not what I want either. I don't want upside down type it unless it's something that spins around. So I want to pull this. So same thing when I get that little signal. There. Okay, so that was easier this time. Okay, great, but still not quite where I want it because I want it to be below so it matches this, so it goes around the circle. So I'm going to show you a different way to do that. So let's go into our character settings. Okay, this is another thing. So here I have the essentials layout. So really what I want to do is be in a type of typography layout. So that changes. Okay, so now everything related to typography will be here. So that's one thing about changing the layout. So now I don't have all those other tools that I don't need. All right, so under the character settings, I can set the baseline to shift. And let's make this minus 32. Okay, so now I have this on the same circumference that the smart squid is. Okay, so those are your two ways to get some circles. So obviously there's some manipulation that could be done to make this look a little bit better to, with the spacing. And this is the perfect segue into the character set. So we would go there. So now that means we are finished with the area type. I forgot to cross that off and type on the path. And now we're going to start character set. So let's go there. Okay. So to show you character sets, let me just zoom in on this so you can see what's happening. All right, a little bit too much. Okay, that's good. I'll move this over. There. Okay, so now I have a text block selected, and here I can set the font size, obviously larger, smaller. Okay, so let's get back to what I had, and this is to set the leading, and this is the space between the baseline and the next baseline. So I can, most of the defaults are automatic. So if I set it at 8-point leading, it decreases it and bunches it up. I can decrease it, increase it, and spread it out a bit more. Or maybe I don't want so much. So I'm back there. So put it to auto. All right. So now also I can set the kerning. Now the kerning, you have to pick a point between two letters because it's going to change the distance between there. So you have your insertion point, and I can decrease that so the letters move closer together. You can do it even more. Also, I can increase the kerning. Oops, I can increase the kerning so there's just more space between the letters. Okay. So let me check that back to auto. And this is good when you're doing display type or titles or headlines. Because sometimes you don't want the spacing to be the same, because sometimes it's more obvious when the space is all blown up. Okay, also I can set the tracking for the characters. Now the tracking is set for 3 or more characters. So, and I've used this a lot when I've been typesetting books, because sometimes you have a whittle at the end of a paragraph or you're trying to fit things in, and rather than rejiggering the whole page or something, all you need to do is use the tracking. So it come in quite handy. So I can minus the tracking, and you see that comes in, and that's a little bit tight. So when I did do this, you don't want to go too tight, but I'm just for demonstration purposes, or you can expand it. Now when you do this the right way, no one will notice what you've done, that there is extra. Now this is blown up, and I'm telling you, and you've seen what I've done, so you know there's a difference between the letter spacing between each one. So, but if you do it right, no one will ever notice, because I've done this on plenty of books, and it looks fine. Okay, so that is kerning. Oops, let me get this back. Set that back to the default. Okay, here, mostly the default here is optical. Well, it should be the default. It may not be the default. So auto or optical. Optical is what I think is better. I think it's what's at auto first. So optical is good to keep for kerning. Okay, so now also under here you have your vertical scale. So that's small, smaller. Change the vertical scale larger and even larger. Okay, so let's get that back to 100%, and now let's look at the horizontal scaling. So same thing. So again, these are things that may come in handy depending on what you're doing. Okay, so here's the baseline shift, and so now the difference between this is leading is that you're shifting the whole thing from the baseline, but all the space between the lines stay consistent. So really just moving it up. So 12 points. So minus the leading goes down 12 points off the normal leading, and plus 12 points it goes up above the normal baseline. Okay, so that's baseline shift. Okay, now you have character rotation. So you can rotate one character, or you can rotate the whole body of text. So let's rotate this 90 degrees. That's minus 90 degrees, and let's do this plus 30. So you see, whatever effect you want, you can do a lot of manipulation here with the type. All right, now I can change this to all caps. I can change it to small caps. Also, I can use superscript. So if I have a percentage or a fraction point, I can select that and superscript it so it looks good. or I can subscript it, whatever I need there. Okay, so get rid of that. Get that back to normal. Okay. Now, where was I? Oh, okay, so I can underline it. Okay. And take off the underline, and also I can do a strike through. All right. So now, also you have the language. Now, no matter what you do, what language you pick, this will not translate it into Russian or Romanian. So there's nothing to touch down here. And here you have sharp, and this is when you're for anti-aliasing, but since this is vector, you really don't have any need for this. I mean, also if you're using vector, there's really no need to go back and anti-alias this. It's kind of moving backwards, because the whole point of having vector art is that you can use it at any size. So this, but if you have it, it's here. You know, for some reason, you never know. Okay, so that is the character setting. Okay, so that's the character set. So that completes our lesson for today. So let me show you what the homework is. Okay, so for today's homework with this lesson, I've given you a circle to start with. And what I want you to do is type in the circle inside the circle in the green area. And then I want you to create a shape to place it here for area type. So this is your lesson for today. So try this out. And again, it may look like I'm spoon feeding you, but you got to do some thinking to accomplish this assignment. All right. So that's it for today. Thanks for viewing the lesson. Hope you got a lot out of it. And be here for part 2 of the type lesson. So thank you, and go out and just create. Bye.